Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jimmy. Guys, today I'm going to do a very special review. I'm going to do a re-review of Time Pilot, but it's going to be counting the Arcade Archives version, or the ACA, made by Hamster Corporation on the Nintendo Switch and on the PS4. And it's goddamn Time Pilot, guys. Time Pilot is literally one of my favorite Konami arcade games from the, I guess, golden, would that be considered the golden era of arcade games, technically? This is back in '82? Believe so, right? You should probably know this, right? Anywho, guys, since you guys already know what I think of the game, I'm just going to talk about this specific version of the game and what it brings to the table. So, and I'm actually going to cover that little story I talked about with Yoshiki Okamoto, where I talked about his boss kind of be like, oh, hey, nice arcade game there. Thanks for the credit. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. So first of all, let's actually talk about this version of the game. So, if you guys aren't aware, Hamster Corporation has been doling out a ton of, and I mean a ton of, arcade games on the Switch eShop and on the PS4 Play Store. Yeah, the storefront, PlayStation storefront. And it has been absolutely glorious. They literally pump out titles once a week, and it has been absolutely stellar. Like, the work ethic for these guys is goddamn unrivaled, and like, we're talking about like M2 is like the gold standard, but Hamster Corporation does an absolutely amazing job. So, if you guys haven't played an Arcade Archives game, essentially they give you a ton of options, and I mean a ton of options on how to tweak the game. You can even tweak the sound in the game, how much reverb you want, and how much treble and bass, and it's absolutely stellar. You can tweak the pixel size as well, so you can set it to stretch, you can set the border to black, even though the borders do come with a, I guess like a gloss on it on the side. So I guess it kind of looks like the, like an arcade bezel, I guess you can say. So yeah, guys, the game looks absolutely stellar. It's pretty much like, how can I put this? The emulation on this game is absolutely stellar. Like, I haven't been able to tell any differences per se. Granted, my main experience with Time Pilot is on the, on MAME. So, take my thing with a grain of salt. And the Konami Classics on the GBA, which is another one. But yeah, so the game looks great and it plays great. It has a ton of options. You can actually set the screen as well to either horizontal or vertical. So if you have a setup for that, so if you can set your TV vertically, so you can get the full screen to play, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I unfortunately don't have that set up because I have a 50-inch goddamn television in my room, and I'm not going to mount that on my wall. But I do it on the Switch itself, so I'll turn the Switch vertically and I'll play it that way. It's actually, I'm not going to lie, it's actually a lot of fun. It definitely brings something to the gameplay experience. So, with that being said, there is also the thing of online leaderboards, actually. This game does have an online leaderboard component. Like, I enjoy it. I haven't played too much with the online leaderboards, mainly because I haven't really submitted my scores. Because, to be honest, as I mentioned in my first review of this game is fair, extremely fair, but the difficulty does ramp up immensely, and that is because this is an arcade game, and it's meant to squeeze out as much money out of you as possible. So it only makes sense that the difficulty spikes extremely fast. So get ready to die a lot, and I mean a lot. So, yeah. I guess now I'm actually gonna jump to that story with Okamoto-san. So, let's start from the beginning. Okamoto-san was hired by Konami as a graphic artist, and he worked his way up. The first game he actually worked on was actually Gyrus. So, it's kind of cool to see that connection there with Gyrus. Okamoto-san actually created Time Pilot as a response to the driving game that he didn't want to create, that his boss had ordered him to create. So, in the meantime, he actually worked on 2 projects. He was busy designing Time Pilot and working on that, and the small team he had actually took up the work of creating the driving game. He was actually a big fan of the game Bosconian, so he used that as a base and created Time Pilot. When his boss came back and asked him if the game was ready, instead of showing off the driving game, he ended up showing off
Time Pilot. Naturally, his boss became pretty pissed. And then, rightfully so, this is a bunch of resources and time that was dumped into Time Pilot. Okamoto-san convinced his boss to do a location test, and, well, the rest is history, as they say. It ended up becoming extremely popular.
And then he wasn't given any credit. It's actually fun to note as well that Okamoto-san is actually, believe it or not, one of the lead designers in Street Fighter and Final Fight. Because everything always goes back to Capcom back in the 80s. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see that, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, come back to everything goes back to Capcom. It's kind of funny to think about that. Because we also had erstwhile Capcom employees, I should say, create Art of Fighting and all that jazz. It's kind of a funny thought, but that's much later on in the timeline. Anywho guys, the main question is, do I or do I not recommend this game? Honestly, the game is less than 10 bucks. You're gonna have literally tons of fun with this game. It's short, literally as short as your skill will allow it to be. So, yeah, in my case, my playthroughs aren't that long. Maybe I'll get into a loop if I'm lucky. Like, once I beat the game does loop back, and maybe I'll die. I'll usually die on the first loop, if not on the alien stages. Yeah, it's not pretty. I'm not that good at this game anymore, I've realized. After dumping a ton of hours on MAME for my first review. But I did get better at it. So, in case you couldn't tell, yes, I recommend the game. It is a lot of fun. Plus, too, this is, how can I put this? This is a bit of Konami history no one really talks about too much. I'm extremely grateful for the arcade. It sounds like I'm gonna create a portmanteau here of arcade and archives, which is kind of weird because it's like they're very similar. Anywho, I'm extremely grateful for the arcade archives version of this game. This game is absolutely stellar. It's fun. Honestly, it's a game where you can just kind of turn your brain off and just blast stuff for as long as you can, because after all, it is a score horror game. And like I said, it's a really interesting piece of Konami history that we don't get to hear about all too much. Because usually when people think Konami, they usually think Contra back in the 80s. So it's nice to get something actually way before Contra. So yes, I recommend it. Guys, this has been Jimmy. Remember to stay absolutely beautiful. Remember you're loved. And remember to stay absolutely radical, guys. Thanks for tuning in.